Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Mark.
Do you want to start the show?
Oh. Welcome to the
There
People
you go.
Sports Podcast.
There you go.
I'm Charlotte Wilder here with Mark Titus. I forgot that I started on Monday.
Yeah, you do start on Mondays.
Wow.
You're in Los Angeles too, which is there a story behind this? Because first of all, you were just here like last week. Now you're here again.
Yeah.
So I want to know that part of it, but also you texted us before you got on your flight, and you said this hurricane situation is making travel interesting right now.
It sure was.
Was it interesting? Is there a story?
You know, it actually, so first of all, I was like, doing shows in person is really fun. LA's growing on me. I'm just going to come back. You know, we're going, I know, don't start with me, but we are going on the road starting next week, which is insane. And I was like, I just think it would feel better if we did a few good shows, you know, got to make fun of each other face to face, and then hit the road.
Okay.
But I was like, of course, there's a hurricane the day that I'm scheduled to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast. So I had just completely convinced myself that I wasn't going to get here. And it turns out that that is just the best way to go through life, because I made it. And then, you know, we sat on the runway for an extra hour.
Where did you fly out of?
I flew out of Maine, which is
They have airports.
Believe it or not, they have two.
No, I would believe Maine has airports. I would just assume that they're like Illuminati airports, that you have to be like, they are. Okay.
No comment. Wait, what does that mean? If I ask what it means, that it's then I'm not in it.
Yeah.
No, they do. They have airports, which is exciting. So I flew to Detroit, and then I flew from Detroit to LA, and I made it.
Okay.
But I had so convinced myself, because I didn't want to get my hopes up thinking that this hurricane was going to ruin my life.
Yeah. So can we defend your people, because the hurricane not that bad, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think it was great, but
it's not great, but it was like it became like a tropical storm, whatever. And my understanding is the people in New England were basically I don't know. We don't need to talk.
No. New Englanders are, as one myself.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, weather, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it's gonna be a bad hurricane, and you know, you've got Boston guys being like, bring it on, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you versus the hurricane, which is a terrible stance to take ever. But it becomes very personal. You're like, I can shovel 15 feet of snow. Like, what could you possibly do to me? And the hurricane's like, I will ruin your life.
We've talked about this, because weather that you're not familiar with is the most terrifying thing. And it's hilarious to watch, if you're someone who is familiar with that weather, to watch someone handle that weather. Like in the way that it remember when it snowed in Georgia, like 1 millimeter? And the entire state of Georgia was like, what do we do?
Right.
And there's someone from the Midwest that was hilarious to us, but then like everyone in Georgia's like, no, hang on, we don't have snow plows. We're not like, they have a lot of reasons.
Infrastructure, heard of it?
In the same way in LA, earthquakes happen. No one flinches. No one bats an eye. It spits. It's not even raining. It's just like kind of spitting. Everyone's like, what do we do?
Right.
Panic.
What do we do? If I were ever in an earthquake, I will lose my mind. I will be very scared.
You've never experienced an earthquake?
Well, no.
Knock on wood. How long you here?
I don't know. I read an article a few years ago called like "Waiting for the Big One," and I was like, I'm never going to the West Coast again.
The big one, it's not fair, because that is classic just media fear tactics. That is like I'm sure the science is behind the science, but if you actually like read about it, it's like it could happen tomorrow. It could happen in 1,000 years, and it's like, yeah, a lot of things.
You know,
no shit is what I would say.
I
read that, I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Like obviously, we're all gonna fall into the ocean.
We're all gonna die. Like
I do think that one thing about COVID that I was not really bargaining for is how aware of my own mortality it's made me, where I'm like calculating risks about everything. I'm like, do I get in a car? Because what are the stats?
Right.
And I'm like, I can't really think that way, because I'm never going to get in a car, and then I'm never going to be able to do my job. So you got to assume a baseline of like blinders. But yeah, so I made it in a hurricane. Sat next to a man who's very nice, whose daughter wants to be a broadcaster. So shout out to Skylar at Syracuse.
Skylar, take Charlotte's job. We can do a show together.
That would be wild if I introduced my own downfall. I create a that Skylar,
she's going to Syracuse?
Yeah.
We need more schools for people to go to. And like that for
No, go on. Please.
like why does everybody go to Syracuse? I mean, I understand why, but like let's shake it up. Like we can do better, America.
You and I are obnoxious in the sense people who went to journalism school are obnoxious, but people who work in media who didn't go to journalism school and are proud of it the way we are just as obnoxious.
Because it's annoying. I don't know.
See, like you can't.
It is
any
annoying. Like
argument
there's
you
got to
have
be
about
other
journalism
schools.
School.
There's like if you want to be a broadcaster, you should be able to not go to Syracuse.
I mean, we're both.
You should be able to assess the landscape.
I don't know if you could call us broadcasters, but we didn't go to Syracuse.
But okay, so we should be more proud. Like we should tell people you can go to Ohio State and Colby and be a broadcaster.
Well, I mean, barely. I'm not trying to advocate for either of our paths, but like here we are. We have so many emails today, Mark.
Okay.
Are you excited? We've never done emails in person.
We haven't?
No.
Yeah, that's right. I guess.
I'm
all right,
so excited.
Yeah,
I love emails
I have
so much.
I have my laptop in front of me and look at my notes. I have like
what does it say?
I don't know what to tell you.
Don't.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words.
Preserve the mystery. I want everyone to email us guessing what the 7 words on Mark's
words of
notes for this show were.
I got this big ass laptop. I'm charging my laptop, by the way. God forbid my laptop dies and I don't have my
I'm not,
7 notes,
and the whole show is
words.
on my computer, so just hand me your plug if we need it. Okay, the first one, the subject line is Brent. And it's from Ty Cobb, who emails us almost every week.
Is this the real Ty Cobb?
Yeah, well, Tyrus Cobb, but I just called him Ty Cobb because that sounded fun. And he says, I think we should have designated, I think Tyrus Cobb is a super emailer.
Oh, we should have super emailers.
Yeah, you know how if you like fly enough on an airline, they give you platinum status or whatever?
It goes straight to the top of the inbox.
Yeah, we got gold status here for Tyrus Cobb. And he says, Mark, which is the first time anyone has ever addressed an email.
Yeah, that's true.
Just to you. Is calling Brent a universal thing? I did the same thing in high school. Unfortunately, this memory also puts another point in the wait, was I a bully in high school category. Please say I wasn't. I swear I'm a good guy. I think it's just...
I think here's what happens. I think you get it wrong. This is what happened to me. Like you get it wrong so often and that you just end up rolling with it and say that it's a bit when... You know what I mean? Like I accidentally call someone Brent.
I don't believe you for a second.
This happens to a lot of like. Another thing is the last like people that have the last name Robinson and there's no N in there. That's like a semi.
That's tricky.
And I call him Robinson. And then I'll just roll with it. Like that happens. What's another example? I don't know. There are other examples out there, but like because there are a lot of last names, especially where it's like a common last name and then they remove one letter.
Yes. No, that is.
And I will call people the wrong name, and then I think you just roll with it to pretend like you're like I'm not an idiot. I was doing a bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, see that I fully got it. I thought you can either. Well, so here's the thing though. You can either be an idiot and just get the name wrong repeatedly, or you can be a jerk and purposely get the name wrong.
Yeah.
And you've got to pick up.
I became a jerk.
I just assumed you were a jerk.
I was a
right
jerk
off
with.
the bat.
I was a jerk, but like I've gotten a lot of people's names wrong before. Like that. Like I've come close. And did you just start? I don't know. Don't get me started on this.
I won't. Okay.
I'm one of those people that's bad with names, but then you realize like as you get older and you experience, you witness other people being quote unquote bad with names.
Yeah.
You realize they're just like self-absorbed and they just don't care enough to like learn other people's names.
Right.
So but then I'm like, I put the mirror up to myself and I'm like, of course I put the mirror up to myself because I'm self-absorbed. I want to look at myself. No. So then I start thinking about myself. I'm like, well, no, I'm the exception. Like I'm not good
You're
with
just
names because my
actually bad with
brain,
names.
like I have a special brain. Everyone else that's bad with names is a bad person.
Well, I realized
I'm the
that
one exception.
I was
I'm
losing
special.
brain cells. You're special. You're such a special boy, Mark. I realized that I was losing brain cells when I started. I worried too much about introducing myself, about saying my own name correctly. Because I never know how much. I think I've said this before. I never know how much to pronounce the R. Like I'm Charlotte. How much do you? I don't ever say my own name. Well, I guess I do. Anyway, I just realized that when I don't listen is when I don't remember people's names.
Let me ask you this: when you say your name at a takeout place, or like, can we get a name for the order? And you say your name, do they ever mishear you? Do they? Has there ever when you go to Starbucks, do they ever write like Brittany on the cup? And you're like, what the hell? How did you get?
Yes, not Brittany. More like I've gotten Charlene, which I love.
Okay.
I love.
Charlene.
I'm like, call me Charlene. That is so good. Charlene, there's like Aunt Char as an alter ego.
Yeah.
There's also Charlene.
Charlene.
Who, like, lives in,
Charlene smokes. She's ripping Marlboros.
Constantly.
Yeah.
She lives near Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
And she never goes to the games, but she like goes down to the parking lot after practice every day in her Pat starter jacket.
You got curlers in your hair at all times.
Always, and slippers everywhere, and like goes to the grocery store even though she never buys anything. That's it's questionable which way. I can go one of two ways as I age, and I'm kind of hoping I just take a hard right towards Charlene.
That's not a bad one. I get the way I say my name, people think I'm saying Bart. I'm not kidding. They're like, can I get a name for the order? I'm like, yeah, Mart. And they're like, Bart? Are you saying Bart?
I'm calling you Bart.
Bart?
Titus.
Has
it? So that's happened multiple times.
Yeah, it happens a lot because it's my voice. I don't know what it is about my voice. What's weirder, you saying your own name or hearing your own voice?
Well, saying my own name because I hear my own voice way too much because of my line of work.
Yeah, I can't hear my own voice.
It's awful.
I got the Adam Driver. That's the actor, right? The Adam Driver deal. I think it was Adam Driver.
You're so dedicated to your craft.
I'm so dedicated.
Can't watch your own.
No, if I hear my own voice, it breaks my brain.
It gets to the point where if I'm in a room and one of my friends or family opens their Instagram and I have posted something that I've said, and I hear my own voice come out of their phone, I go, no.
Like it's a bomb.
No,
like,
seriously.
Slapping it out of their hand.
Stop. And they're like, sorry. Like it happens every single time. I'm like, turn your volume down. So, I think that I can't. I mean, I think saying my own name is weird, but hearing my own voice is worse.
Yeah, they're both not fun experiences. No. Anyway,
all right,
so
Bart,
what was the question?
The
question. We're not bullies. We're just we're trying our best. We're just people that aren't good with names.
Oh, it all comes full circle. Okay, we've got an email from Emily Dirks. Who emailed in Little League World Series. She says, Mark, Charlotte, and Moses, I've spent way too much time in the last few days watching Little League baseball. Yep. Arguably the most entertaining part is the mic'd up coaches. Some are way too corny, some are aggressive, and some seem to take things a little too seriously. My favorite part is when you can just tell the kids hate this guy. This got me thinking, what are the best, worst Little League parents and coaches? Love the pod and looking forward to your answers. Ever hopeful, Emily.
What are the best, worst?
Best or worst. I'm not entirely sure what the question is, so I think we have some leeway for how we want to interpret this.
I think one problem that's happened with the Little League World Series as it pertains to the coaches is guys have gone viral too much. To now the coaches, it feels a little artificial, and it feels. I mean, this has certainly happened with the sportsmanship, and I don't know when we have to have a reckoning as a country and discuss this and bring this to the surface. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it right now, Charlotte.
I love when you get to when we need to have a reckoning as a country.
I love when the hands come out too when I'm talking.
I'm like, oh.
I got my hands on my lap, and then I'm like, boy, it's time to start getting animated. Let's wind these hands up. And I'm getting animated about sportsmanship in the Little League World Series.
Right, and I'm like,
I think the fact that like we had I forget who the guy was. I want to say he's from New Jersey he's from New England somewhere. He had the thick New England accent. The guy, you remember the coach?
Yes.
And they brought him back for the broadcast.
Yes.
And he gave the speech to his team where like they were getting absolutely destroyed. Yep. It was not a close game. And he comes out there and he's like, kids, it's gonna be okay. Like we're gonna get ice cream at the end of this game.
It's like have fun.
Let's just
enjoy
have some
the
fun.
game.
Hey, chin up, you know. And that goes viral, and everyone's like, I love this guy, and Oprah's like, I gotta have this guy on my show,
right.
and book publishers are like, will you do a series of 4 to 5 books about motivation? You know, everyone's just like, we got to know more about this guy. So I think like with Little League World Series coaches saw this, and not necessarily that they're trying to go viral too, but they're aware that cameras are on them. They're aware that microphones are on them, and I think everyone's just a little too aware, Charlotte. And what I mean by that is that the sportsmanship has gotten out of hand. We need more guys that are pissed off when people hit home runs off of them.
Okay.
I don't need a pitcher like high-fiving the guy that just took him yard. I don't need that. I don't there's a middle ground. There's got to be a middle ground.
Bring back good old-fashioned rivalry.
I don't need. I like that you slap hands at the end of the game. You say good game. I love the stories of the teams. I guess we're not getting a lot of these because of the COVID situation. But traditionally, the Little League World Series, you hear teams that are battling it out on the field are actually friends because they play ping pong at the and they trade cards, whatever it is. I love all those stories. Be friends, enjoy the experience. But also, if a guy takes you yard, you don't have to like get down on your knees and start bowing down.
Yes.
Like, it's awesome.
I want fire. I want to see passion. I want fire. I don't think that competition means you can't be friends with someone. You can be great friends with someone and just really want to destroy them. In fact, I think most people who are friends with people facing their friends would probably play harder than facing strangers, because you got to live with that.
Yes.
Every time you see them, they're going to bring it up.
Yes.
But I think that this actually plays into the Sons and Four conversation we had a few weeks or months ago. I don't know.
It was last week, I think.
Don't do that. I don't know. Time is a social construct. But because, it's like, how aware are you of going viral? How much are you playing into it? And I don't really know if there's a solution because coaches know that, but I think you can tell when someone's trying too hard.
Yeah, I agree.
It has to be organic.
The best worst coaches, I guess. The guys that say nothing and feel like they're reinventing the wheel, they're pretty bad. They make me cringe a lot. Where they are trying to pump up the kid. Yeah. But they're not really saying anything. I don't have a great example, but they're just kind of like just.
No, they're not inventive enough.
Yeah, there's just like nothing. They're just like, just go out there and play your game. Just give it your like that kind of stuff, and you're like, you could, as the emailer said, you can just see the eyes glossing over the kids,
the
just
kids
like, what the hell is this guy saying?
You, as a coach, you either need to be like Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
You need to be super like earnest in a way that they know you mean it, or you need to be wacky.
Yeah.
I don't want sort of a mean coach. You can still be demanding without being a jerk about it. But, like, if you're wacky, if you're coming out there saying, like, you got to you got to hit that ball like it's relish on a hot dog. And they're like...
I genuinely believe the Little League World Series is the best sporting event in the world in terms of everything.
I mean,
in terms of everything.
Yes, except for the Westminster Dog Show.
I think it's it just checks all the boxes. I think the in these moments where the coaches are, because sometimes the coaches are the dads themselves, more often than not, but like not every time the coach talking to the pitcher is a father and son, but the dynamics at play, the coach is like both trying to win the game, but also trying to make sure this kid doesn't have like a mental breakdown. And also trying to make sure everyone has fun all at the same time. And it's impossible.
You have to be like a high-level therapist to do that, let alone like a little league coach.
Like, how do you go out there when a kid's getting like he just gave up 3 hits and the bases are juiced and it's a 1-run game and it's the bottom of the 6th, and you go out there and you talk to the kid and you're like, all right, so listen, if we get the out here, we win the Little League World Series, and you'll have glory for the rest of your life.
Right.
You'll be, you watch it every year. They show highlights from 40 years ago, the teams that won. That could be you. But also have fun, man. Like, try your best. Like, and
also,
if you don't,
we'll get ice cream afterwards.
We're gonna have a good time. So, like, good luck.
Right, and you're like, up to you.
And the good ones find. I guess that's why the guy went viral the first time, because the good ones find a way to do that. I would not be good at that at all. I would be.
No.
The one trick I do like that I've seen coaches do is they will ask the player what they want to do instead of the coach coming out and being like, we're gonna bunt here or we're gonna do this. It just come out and be like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I think that's right.
And then the player's like, I just want to throw gas at him. I just want to throw nothing but fastballs and dare him to hit it. And you're like, go ahead, do that.
It's a Little League World Series. So they're like 12-year-old boys. Of course they want to just throw it as hard as they can. But, which I love, because then the coach knows what they're getting when they ask that. They're like, what do you want to do? And he's like, just you throw the hell out of this ball.
Part of the players knowing they're on TV too is it feels like in the field, Little League World Series players try to make superhero play. They try to get 3 outs every single play on a play that it's impossible. There's only one person on base and they're trying to get a triple play.
Throwing it to third before they throw it to first, and it's like you just had to throw it to first.
The easiest way to score in the Little League World Series, if you're already on base, it's just fake like you're running to the next base. Because like the first baseman who just caught the ball will see like a guy on third like take 1 step off, and he's like, I'll do it, and just like rifle it across and throw it into the stands. It's so funny. I love it.
It's so pure.
The best. What was the question? I'm trying to answer the question.
I think we answered it. It was like the best and worst kinds of coaches, and I think we did it.
I think the fans in general are all pretty similar, except I feel like the Japanese fans, which aren't there this year. It's all American teams this year. Japan and Hawaii are usually the two that I enjoy watching the most because they have like real culture in the stands, and they show the Japanese families, and it's like, oh, this is different. Like the way they're cheering is different. It's not just like white people in jorts, you know,
right? There's
yelling for Braxton to like,
right. There's a real like a gravitas of like they take it seriously and they aren't in jorts.
And they're all on the same page. Like they're all like cheering for the same thing versus just cheering for their son. And I feel like the Hawaiians do that too pretty well, where they got like chants down and like, I don't know.
And everyone else is just like, Braxton's going to Yale on a scholarship.
Yeah, and they're
like,
yelling at the coach. They're yelling at the umps. They're yelling at,
they're like, that's not fair to my kid.
They're yelling at their kids' teammates.
The American individualism. Personal freedoms. Okay, here's an email called Hockey, Etc., which, if you'll remember, this was from Sarah Mueller, who replied to her email from months ago. She's the one we drew the pictures of her on the Zamboni.
That's right, yeah.
She writes in, I think this is a very funny story. She said, I was listening to the Mailbag episode this morning and have a story that will do nothing other than continue the email centipede, but I think you guys will appreciate it, which I love. One of my good friends from home, Milwaukee, went to Rose Holman, whose mascot is Rosie the elephant. Prior to arriving on campus, there wasn't one student who consistently wore the costume. They'd have a male cheerleader do it for bigger events like homecoming. My friend was on the track team and volunteered to wear it on a more consistent basis. In 2010, when the Final Four was in Indianapolis, they wanted all the schools in Indiana to send their mascot for the Reese's Senior All-Star Game. My friend went in the Rosie suit, which was in pretty bad shape at that point. The head was half broken and she couldn't see very well. It's just like broken mascot costumes is my bread and butter. She goes, as they were waiting to go onto the court before the game and watching some of the teams practice, she was having a hard time navigating and physically ran into someone, Coach K. Later, she was paired up with the Notre Dame leprechaun to go around and interact with the crowd. The leprechaun could talk to fans since he's just a dude in a suit. And meanwhile, everyone thought she was the Alabama mascot despite her wearing a Rose Holman shirt. The leprechaun didn't go out of his way to correct anyone's assumption. Literally, whenever I'm down and need a laugh, I call up the mental image of my friend wearing a janky elephant costume, struggling to see where she's going while running around Lucas Oil Stadium, clotheslining Coach K.
Oh my God! That got me thinking. Like, what are the rules of like if you wear a mask, if you wear a animal head, you're not allowed to talk.
No.
But how does that? That's not legally binding, Charlotte.
No,
you can't be thrown in prison.
No, well, you can.
Certainly.
For Rose Holman to bring dishonor onto them by giving Rosie a voice? Are you kidding me? Do you know what that does to the integrity of Rosie going forward if Rosie has 4 different voices every, 4 years?
That's a good point. We should start
I did a story, not to brag, but I did a story when I covered the ACC tournament in 2017. And of course it was me, so I just talked to all the mascots, and they were all seniors who had finally been able to reveal their identities. They were like, for 4 years of college, my roommates didn't even know that I was the mascot. They were so secretive about it that they would not tell a single person. Like, even the cheerleaders didn't know, or there was like 5 people who knew who they were on campus and kept their identity like locked in a safe.
Like you're Superman?
Yes. And then they have senior night where they can finally reveal, and their roommates are all like, that's what you were doing when you said you were, like, they would make up elaborate lies like, I'm doing laundry, and they were like, you're doing laundry for 4 hours like every Tuesday night?
Oh my God.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I just think that there's something really special.
We have to fix that. What if we started like a civil rights movement of with everything going on in the world and how much positive change people are motivated. The cause that gets you and I out of our seats is let the mascots talk. Give them a voice.
Voice for the mascot.
Or picketing NCAA events. Let them talk.
That'd be a good bit.
Yeah.
We could do that on our tour.
That does suck to be. I would be super jealous of Notre Dame. West Virginia, I know, has a human, like the human mascots, where it's just like a guy in a beard. Like the West Virginia mascot.
How do you feel
tryouts,
about that?
It's just a guy in a beard, and they're just like, dude, you want to be the mascot? He's like, what do I got to do? It's like, just put this hat on and walk around with a gun. And they're like, yeah, why not?
It's like,
cool.
That's a Sunday for me.
What do I get out of it? You get to sit courtside for every basketball game and be on the field for every football game.
And like be a local celebrity because you're dressed up as the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch the Big Lebowski play, by the way. That was fun. I think that it's wild when you have people mascots. I actually don't love it. The only thing that I think is worse than humans as the mascot is mascots of humans, like felt men.
Oh, Purdue Pete is what you're talking about. Purdue Pete is. Let's just jump right to it. Purdue Pete's the
Providence Friar. What's his? He looks like a ghost.
Oh my God!
It looks like a ghost of a priest.
Yes.
And you're like.
Purdue Pete is the one that's. I'm from Indiana, so I guess that's the one that stands out to me. But Purdue Pete is like a centaur, kind of, because it's like the head is artificial, but then the body is real. And oh my God, that thing gave me nightmares when I think that might be why I grew up an Indiana fan and not a Purdue fan.
You really,
like Purdue Pete is too much.
Purdue Pete. Well, for me, it's the felt skin.
Yeah.
That really, I'm like, I can't get behind the felt skin. It's the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
The way this email, by the way, my last thought on mascots, she was saying that that they all met at the Final Four, and it got me for a game, right? Like it was the senior whatever game. And as soon as you said that, I thought the mascots were playing in the game. And it took me like a second or two to realize that's not the case. We need a mascot game.
Okay. At that same ACC tournament, the halftime show was that the mascots played basketball against each other.
Oh my God.
And the leprechaun just ran.
Yeah, obviously.
The leprechaun there? Was Notre Dame like included in the?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the ACC basketball, yeah. Notre Dame's been ACC basketball for a while.
Right. Yeah. The leprechaun just ran circles around. You know, you had the Jayhawk being like, I've got wings, so this isn't gonna go great. And there was another one.
Well, the Jayhawk wasn't there, but I get what you mean.
Who was the bird? Who am I thinking of?
The Hokie? The Virginia Tech Hokie?
Sorry.
Yeah, probably.
There's a beak situation. But
I'm trying to think of who else would be
Syracuse
good.
Orange also had trouble because its arms stuck out only like this much, so it couldn't like reach around the sphere of its little. It was like watching a T-Rex try to play basketball.
As I'm thinking about it now, non-animal mascots are kind of trippy too.
Oh, the orange?
It's just like, yeah.
It's like, who bankrolled this? Tropicana? Like, is there some lobbying going on? Because you're
It's
just
an orange with arms.
Also, that's the most basic. It's like, oh, Syracuse, what should our mascot be? And like, well, our colors are orange. And they're like, say no more. And then they come out with a felt sphere, and they're like, ta-da!
Yeah. Oh my God. I think if you're gonna have the orange mascot, make it look like an actual orange. Don't give it arms and legs. Make the person inside just have to like roll in a ball. It's just rolling around.
Did you have friends who had hamsters, or did you ever have hamsters?
I had one friend with a hamster.
I never understood why kids wanted hamsters, but I had.
I don't think they did. I think they wanted dogs, and the parents were like, "What about a hamster?"
And then they were like, "You have to clean the cage," and the friends would be like, "Yes, definitely."
But the dad's like, the dad's like, "It's gonna die in a year, and then we can."
And then they live forever. But they had like they had those plastic balls that they would put the hamster in, and it would like roll around their bedroom. Like that's what we need the Syracuse Orange to be. Like a big plastic, and inside
a transparent, but like a tint of orange.
Yeah.
Like it's got a hue of orange.
And it's like iridescent, so you can't see the base. So the person remains a secret. We fixed it. Okay, here's an email called Quick Cricket /Net Worth email.
Perfect.
We got a lot of emails about cricket because you read me the article that we didn't understand. Says, this is from Oliver Pattenden. Dear Charlotte, I don't mean to bang on about cricket every time I email you. It's incredible. Bang on. I think he's got to be British, right? Yeah. Okay. And I was determined not to write in after Mark's somewhat depressing reading of the report of England's even more depressing loss to India. No one likes a pedant, and I'm modestly hopeful that if you ever want terms like paceman and test explained, you know where to find me. First of all, Oliver sounds much smarter than we are.
Yeah, there's something about it.
That's impeccable writing.
Yeah.
He sounds British in his email.
Yeah.
I hope he's not actually British. And he's just smart. And we're like, this guy.
He's from Indiana, too.
Definitely is. He says, however, it seems worth sharing that Virat Kohli is the Indian team captain, not the manager, as Mark guessed, and one of the finest batters of his generation. And as there are no greater celebrities in India than cricketers, I thought you might be interested that he makes over $24 million annually through his endorsements.
Wow.
Or 5 Tim R. Tebows per year. His net worth is roughly $86 million, or 21.5 Chad Michael Murrays. Thanks for everything, Oliver.
CelebrityNetworth.com. Hang on, I gotta pull it up.
Okay, it's V-I-R-A-T.
V-I-R-A-T.
K-O-H-L-I.
K-O-H-L-I. All right. Oh, he's on here. Let's see what it says. 50 million.
Okay. I don't know
million.
where Oliver's getting his 86 million numbers.
Yeah,
then.
come on, Oliver. Let's.
Well, the only money website we consult is CelebrityNetWorth.com, which says that Mark is worth $16 million. Wait, no, that wasn't Celebrity.
Okay, so it says here that he's 5'8", which I'm curious about. Like, this might be a new cricket rabbit hole of like trying to find what is the archetype cricket, the build of a cricket player. If you could build a perfect cricket player, how tall is he? How strong is he?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because Virat Kohli would not
Here's
be
the
a great
problem, Mark.
defensive lineman.
We don't understand the sport, so we don't.
But that's what I want to understand. I want to like research more cricket players
okay.
and like, are they all short? Is this like?
I'm Googling cricket players.
Is he great in spite of his height, or is that like part of what makes him good? Like, you know, like Lionel Messi's not a tall man, and like that's kind of what makes him good. Is he's a little smaller? He's just
doing his little. Well, here, listen. Okay, in cricket, some of the great batsmen like Donald Bradman, who is 5'8". I googled cricket player average height. Sachin Tendulkar and Sunil Gavaskar, I hope I'm not butchering those names, both 5'5".
I hope I'm not butchering those.
I hope I didn't say it wrong. I'm trying.
In what world would those have been right?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, anyway. They are about or below average height. This is because a smaller body makes for an advantage in footwork and balance.
Interesting.
Oh, this is from a Wikipedia page called Height in Sports.
Interesting. So I'm going to start saying I would have gone pro in cricket, but I was too tall.
Yeah,
that's definitely the problem. Yeah. I was actually like very gifted naturally at cricket growing up, but I hit a growth spurt, and much like women's gymnastics, my growth spurt doomed me.
It was like me on the diving team. Yeah. I was 5 feet, and then all of a sudden I was much taller. And it was very difficult. I'm sorry, but this Wikipedia page is wild. Height in sports. It says height can significantly influence success in sports, depending on how the design of the sport is linked to factors that are height-based due to physics and biology. The balance of the intricate array of links will determine the degree to which height plays a role in success, if any. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Let's see what they say about basketball. There's a whole basketball. Taller players are often
height? What do they say the average height is?
The average American man. The average American male is 5'9".
Wait, really?
Yet, in a 2007-2008 player survey, the average player in the NBA was listed at 6'7".
Okay, 6. That's good.
But it does say that taller players are often thought to have an advantage in basketball because their shots have less distance to travel to the basket. They start closer to the rebound.
Who wrote this?
Ability to reach higher into the air yields a better chance of blocking shorter players' shots.
Yeah, I was going to say, all you got to do is be like, taller players are better because they'll swat the shit out of shorter players. Like, put that on that should be the Wikipedia page.
Submit it. Have you ever tried to edit a Wikipedia page?
I actually have, yeah. And it gets shot down, like, real fast.
Your own?
Yes. No.
Oh, how did I know? Oh, whoops. I got off. Oh no, here we go.
We appreciate the cricket updates, Oliver. We're at some point we'll put it all together. And again, we should reiterate, like, we're not trying to put down cricket. Like, I never want to come across as that guy that's like, if you're into cricket, you're a loser.
No.
That's not the attitude.
We're losers because we don't.
It's the attitude is like, this is cool, and I understand that people love this. I know nothing about this. This is not a culture I grew up in, and I would love to know more. But also, how? How do you start?
We should try to learn. We should have a cricket expert on. We should have like the foremost cricket expert explain cricket to us.
Let me Google who is the foremost.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. While you're doing that, we have an email called Non-Sports Hall of Fame from John Kalmar. He says, "Hey, Shar and Mark, I know I'm late on the Hall of Fame talk from last week's episode, but as I was catching up last Sunday in the car, I serendipitously drove past the Michigan Whitehall Hall of Fame Museum in beautiful Grass Lake, Michigan. I've driven by the large billboard off I-94 many times in the past, but all the Hall of Fame talk has really piqued my interest about making the stop one day. Maybe add it to your destination list if you make it to the Great Lakes this fall for your football tour. The real question, if Michigan white-tailed deer have their own Hall of Fame, where do we draw the line?
Oh my God.
Are all of the deer in this state making the arduous trip across the highway just to see their relatives in the hall? Does a death-free highway trip and land them a spot in these hollowed halls? Are there other halls of fame for different species of animals? Giving you both some rabbit hole fodder if you want to take a break from planes, trains, and automobiles. This is insane. So he gave us the website.
What the hell?
Are you on the website? Yeah. It is literally just heads of deers.
Well, hang on. I was going to say, like, I think this is a Hall of Fame where the way you make it in is you get shot.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Like, I looked at this and I was like, this isn't a Hall of Fame. This is a deer cemetery.
Yes.
It's very sad.
Well, yeah, we've discussed this
deer,
a little
sorry.
bit.
Oh
yeah, deer. No, it's fine. It's this is a cultural thing too, where
it's just wild to think of someone going to the Hall of Fame and it's like your grandfather's
that
head's
is
on
weird.
the wall.
Yeah, there's a middle ground, Charlotte, because deer, like as I've made the point on here before, deer are rodents
yes.
with antlers,
right.
and they serve no purpose.
But the thing
they are
about
awful.
This website is they have a picture of a baby deer on it, and
right.
I'm like, what is that supposed to make me feel?
So I'm not going to defend deer. Deer, most of them deserve to be killed, frankly.
Oh my god.
But
okay.
do we need to have a museum?
Or a Hall of Fame.
A museum makes sense. A museum, like, I guess I could get behind a museum. Like the idea of explaining why it is we shoot deer in the face regularly. Like, this is important. Like, we need this as a whatever. A Hall of Fame, which is like, these are the best deer.
It seems to me like the people who made this museum don't understand the difference between museums and halls of fame, yeah. Which we were unclear about in a previous episode. Were like,
I'm gonna put your brain in a pretzel.
Oh, God.
What if the real deer Hall of Fame is just nature, and every deer that's still alive out there is a Hall of Famer?
Oh my God.
Because it hasn't been shot.
Wow.
And the ones that have been shot are the losers. And by putting them all together in one place, we can point out these people are not Hall of Fame. It's like the Hall of Not Fame.
The Hall of
Shot in the
Infamy.
face.
That's awful. That is awful. But I think you're right. I think hear me out. What if the real Hall of Fame for everyone is nature? What if all the basketball players who are in the Hall of Fame are actually, I can't do it. I can't land the plane.
Nature.
I'm not gonna.
No, this was my surfing in the Olympics take that in skateboarding, that you should ask every skateboarder to join the Olympics, invite them all.
Yes.
And the ones that say no, they win. You give them the gold medals.
Yes.
And all the losers that are like, I would love to be part of this corporate situation. No, you lose. Where I put on a uniform, a uniform to skate? Are you kidding me? Ugh, disgusting. You lose.
I will say, of
Gold
all the
medal
uniforms, I like the skateboard uniform. Hold on, I'm Googling real quick, and then we've got one more email before we get out of here. Skateboard Hall of Fame. There's got to be one, right?
I can't believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in California.
Of course.
That feels right.
San Diego?
Simi Valley. Where is that?
It's up here. It's
I don't know if this is a real thing. This might be a website that you buy stuff at. No, it's real.
Do you get like can we make our own Hall of Fame and like not get it? Like, I guess who's stopping you? Like, what if we start?
Is there a Hall of Fame accreditation society?
Right, because what if they're competing?
And could we be it?
What if they're competing Hall of Fames? Like, what if someone starts a skateboarding Hall of Fame in Florida, and there's already one in California, and the one in Florida's like, screw you, we're the real one.
Is that legal?
Are you allowed? Yeah. What's more illegal, doing that or talking as a mascot? What's a longer prison sentence?
I think we should start a podcast Hall of Fame. And ours is the only one in it. Because everyone else is in nature and they are the winners. And we have made a Hall of Fame, so we're the losers.
I think what you're describing is those like 40 under 40 lists that get put out by media people, where you buy your way and say,
where like, your agent calls a writer and is like, put Charlotte on. Mine have not, for the record.
That's how the podcast Hall of Fame would work. It's just like, which is a good way to make money, I guess. Like, we just start soliciting donations.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. We could really make some cash.
You go to the new and noteworthy Apple podcast page, and you're like, I've never heard of any of these bozos. Who the hell came up with this?
It's like the Deer Hall of Fame podcast, and we're like, come on in. I have to say, when I turned 30 and I was no longer eligible for 30 under 30, breathed a real sigh of relief.
Yeah.
There was no chance I was ever getting on it, but like I did feel the pressure of being on it was lifted, and that felt really nice.
Do you want me to make one for you? I can do it.
32 under 32?
It's 32 under 32.
Sorry, it would have to be 33 under 33. I'm 32. No. And it could be, Yeah, that's depressing. All right, we're gonna end on this email because the subject line is Colby College, and it's from Susan Brewster. And she says, Dear Aunt Char and Mike Conley's excellent friend, imagine my surprise while living through allergy hell. Amazing way to start an email. That I was watching Maine Cabin Masters and saw the cabin builders go to Colby College and get beautiful hardwood from the squash court and a basketball court. Now, I have several questions right off the bat. Where do I watch Maine Cabin Masters?
Maine Cabin Masters? It's 7 seasons? Oh my God! Look at these guys.
Show me.
Look at the web. Look at the.
Oh my goodness! Those beards.
Oh, those are some characters.
Because this is a podcast and you can't see the picture. It's like 5 people, 4 men and a woman, and the men look like they've been electrocuted, like they're who's the professor?
Looks like Duck Dynasty Maine edition. Yeah.
Yes. What channel is that on? Do you know how you can watch
we
it?
got 2 dudes wearing flip flops with jeans. Thong sandals with jeans. That's a good. That is a great vibe.
Do you wear that?
I in my old days I would wear anything, but I'm Marina Mark now. Let me see here. It is DIY Network.
All right. Well.
DIY Network. Maine
I haven't heard of that, but I feel like
there's no shortage of work for Maine-based builder Chase Morrill, whose specialty is renovating rustic cabins and camps all over. How does it become your specialty? You know what I mean?
How does it not become your specialty?
Where do these shows come from? How do they find these people? Like,
you are the preeminent cabin maker in Maine, and you have outfitted everybody's Deer Hall of Fame with your own special cabinets. You're telling me how are you not going to get famous?
What school is that? Like, Syracuse is the broadcast school. Where do you go to be like renovating rustic cabins and camps all over Maine?
I think you're smart enough not to go to college. You're like, I don't need the debt. I don't need to pay for this. I'm just going to get right into cabinets.
I guess it's Colby, by the way. I guess that is the school.
No, because the email continues. 1, Char, did you give the okay, which is very flattering, but I am in no... Colby College, I've been trying to be the graduation speaker for years.
Have you donated to Colby?
No.
Do they solicit you for donations?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Have you given to Ohio State?
What are your thoughts on that? I gave blood, sweat, and tears as a member of the basketball team. I give so much. I talk about Colby, so I do so much earned media for Colby that I don't need to give him I gave
money.
my left labrum to Ohio State. No, I will. It's one of those deals where it's like, I don't. It's the way that like rich people in LA talk about solving the homeless crisis, where it's like, I will. I just like wait. Let me get to the right. Like I can't do anything about it now, but like come
someday
back.
when I make it.
Yeah. Or it's like it reminds me of when I was a little kid and I was selling candy bars for the Little League, and you knock on the door and like all the people that'd be like, come back later. I'll have money later. Right. And then like That's how I am with the Ohio State.
You should be like, we take Square.
Yeah.
I take Venmo me.
Kids do
like
that
kids today are like, okay, I'm calling your bluff. I have Venmo. Buy some candy, you asshole. Anyway, so no, I've never my high school, which I didn't love, hits me up for money constantly.
Whoa.
And there were 57 girls in my graduating class. It was an all-girls school, and I get hit up they're like, we need 100% participation, and I take 6 satisfaction in that I can screw up the 100% participation. I'm like, you will not get my money. Anyway, a little bit about me. Okay, say 2, if you didn't know, you can watch season 6, episode 1 on DIY Network on Demand, which I will be doing. 3, the premise was they are taking down these buildings, which worried me on behalf of any athletic pursuit at Colby College. Where are the squash fans and basketball fans playing now? I think she means players. But
where are they playing? If you take down the courts, where do they play?
They built a new, beautiful athletic center because so many other people gave money. So they had to get rid of the old...
Think about how nice it could have been, though, Charlotte, if you would have given money.
With my $20 that I would have donated, they could have had a nice little plaque. It says the Charlotte Wilder Memorial Squash Court for the 2 months she played here.
The first time I played squash at Dartmouth.
All right.
That's what it says at the bottom. It says, quote, the first time I played
Charlotte Wilder.
I want to give money. I've actually tried to give money to Ohio State for a while, but they won't answer my phone call when I say... I've put it out there. I will donate. I will buy. This is a true story. I swear to God. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna think I'm joking. I would 100% do this. I want to buy bidets for the Ohio State basketball locker room. And I want to have a little plaque
Not
on
a single part of me thinks you're joking.
And I want to have a little plaque next to it that just says, generously donated by Mark Titus. And I want to get bidets installed.
How many times have you pitched this to them?
I've like hundreds. Every time I'm going to Columbus in a couple weeks, and I will meet with the basketball team again,
Okay.
and I will go to Coach Holtman, and I will make the exact same pitch, and he will laugh at me much like you laughed at me, and then that's as far as it ever goes. They're like, ha ha.
Why don't they say yes?
And that's it. I'm like, have any of you used a bidet? Because once you use a bidet, you'll be like, we got to get these now. That's a recruiting advantage. Like, imagine the recruiting tour. Like, you're showing off the facilities. You're like, hey, so anyway, what's the recruit's name? What are you going to go with?
Jensen.
Jensen, we would really love it if you played at Ohio State. I mean, our academics are great. Also, do you have to just go ahead and take that thing for a spin? The button on the left will dry your ass.
It's for after.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. Don't take it for a spin before. My
Jensen's-
grandmother had a bidet in her house growing up, and every time I went into her bathroom, I would ask her, "What is that?" And she would say, "It's a bidet." And I would say, "What is it for?" And she'd say, "It's to wash your butt." And I'd be like, "That is wild."
You would use it as like an enema? Is that what you're saying?
No, I
you
would
would
wash
use it
my feet in it.
Oh, you would wash your feet? No. Oh no.
Anyway.
Oh no.
Thanks for listening. Send us emails. As always, we will see you on Thursday. If there's anything you would like us to talk about between now and Wednesday when we record, email us at the People's
What's
Sports
going
Podcast.
on right now in people's lives? Fantasy football drafts.
Yes.
That's happening.
Yep.
We help people. Well, the one guy we helped with his order of draft. Where do you stand on fantasy football names?
Team
Do
names?
you play fantasy football?
No.
We talked about this, right? Yeah,
Do you?
don't. No. I did 1 year and I was like, this
same.
is dumb.
I did it 1 year and I was like, I hate this.
I did 1 year and like the algorithm kept telling me you drafted an insane team. You're gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
And then like every week like there'd be some like freak play, and
Yeah.
then like everyone in the league would be like, oh yeah, that happens sometimes. It's like you're just unlucky this week. And then the next week it would happen. Like the guy I'm going against, the wide receiver who hasn't caught a pass in 4 weeks, like suddenly has 300 yards. Like, oh man, it's just unlucky. And I'm like, this game's stupid. Like,
Did
what was the
someone,
point
like,
of
rig it against you?
maybe? I was like, what's the point of like of us reading and like taking notes and doing a draft? Like, if it's all just a coin flip, why don't we just all get together?
Oh, yeah. You're better at just auto drafting.
Why don't we just get together every week and flip a coin and then just decide, Jake, you win this week, and then like like that's pretty much what it is.
You might as well. Also, my team, I drafted based on who I thought was like funniest. Like I chose Gardner Minshew. And it's just a terrible strategy. And then when I lost, I got mad. That's the thing. I cared too much. Like I was like, I'm not gonna care. I'll just do it for fun. And then whenever I lost, like I would look before the Monday night game, and it would be like, you need this many points to not lose. And I was just mad the whole game because I knew I was gonna lose. And then I check and I lost. I hated it. I lost all. I hate
just
losing.
stupid.
And I just fantasy football. I respect people who play, and I love that people play, and I think that it is great for sports media that people play
Sure,
fantasy football.
yeah.
However, I don't like to lose, and fantasy football is basically just like asking to be angry every
Yes.
Monday night.
And it gives you a chore every like
It's
Thursday.
homework.
You have to set your lineup, and like all my friends that play, they just set an alert on their phone. They're like, I gotta set my lineup. God damn it!
I know, I'm
Like
just
by
like, oh.
week 4, they're like, oh, God. Oh, hey, I can't come tonight, guys. I gotta go set my lineup. I'm sorry. And
I mean, my problem
what the
too is that
hell?
I always forgot.
Just quit the league.
It got to the point where the league was like,
Yeah.
you haven't set.
Yeah.
Your quarterback isn't playing.
Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback.
That happens in every league, I think. I think eventually one person's like, I've had enough, and then you'll accept any trade. And then
Yeah.
so the first person that realizes that you've given up just wants to get all your good players, and they offer you a garbage trade. You take it. Everyone revolts, and then, yeah.
Right, they're like, you're throwing the
Yeah,
league for
yeah.
everybody else. And I'm like, well, Amanda asked me first,
Yeah,
so you can
yeah.
all just get in line.
So I guess there we go. We just talked about their fantasy football
Great.
experiences. I don't think we need to do it.
No, I don't think so either. But if there's something we should draft, let us know.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to end it.
All right.
All right. See you guys then. Goodbye.